Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. I have my buddy here, Coleman Ryan.
Hello.
So we've decided that we're just going to have a conversation, just kind of see where it goes. We've talked off the air quite a bit. We've both we've both suffered different traumas, and it's affected us in such a severe way that at one point in our lives it controlled us, and now we're
Absolutely.
learning to control it.
Absolutely.
um, I try to be transparent, and I know, and I don't recommend everybody do this, but some things people think you ought to keep it to yourself and not broadcast it. The only reason why I do is because I know there's somebody out there that's dealing with the same thing that I am or similar. And I want you to know that, there is a solution, and things do get better. Don't think that, my everyday is rainbows and unicorns, because I still have my off days. Um,
Absolutely.
Coleman
Absolutely.
knows what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. I'm diagnosed bipolar. I have PTSD and I suffered a TBI in 2016. Uh, Monday and Tuesday of last week. So a week ago, I couldn't get out of bed for 2 days. I struggle. I was just talking to this gentleman about my bipolar and some of the remedies that we use to treat, like meditation, breathing, being able to slow down and think about your reactions, right? So normally my waves were like this, right? And just super high manics, and my lows were, they were incredibly low, but they weren't really depressed. It was masked with rage, right? So I'd go from severe happiness to severe rage, severe happiness to severe rage, but I just wasn't showing my emotion, right? I was too scared to actually be vulnerable and show the depression. But now I keep my waves very small, and I can manage them pretty well for the most part. Um, this last weekend, Monday, it just dove. I don't know what happened, but it came on immediately, and it took 2 days for me to get out of it. But the difference is now I'm not ashamed of it, right? I don't think anyone should be ashamed, and that's what I'm trying to do here is take away the taboo of talking about trauma and dealing with it, right? I know it's not for everybody to talk about. I don't encourage anyone to just start talking to whoever about it, because there's a lot of mean people out there who are going to share their nasty opinions, right? Find someone that you trust, a professional, a counselor, or somebody, if you want to open up.
Yes.
That's would be my recommendation. But
Well,
talk about it, because that's what,
there's there's people like you and I that, I mean, we're not professionals by any
no.
means, but if you just need an ear, I
Absolutely.
can listen. Coleman will listen.
Hmm.
And if you are to the point of self harm, or you're hurting other people, or like you say, you can't get out of bed,
Hmm.
there are people that you can get in contact with. I mean, you pick up your phone. Everybody's got a cell phone.
Hmm.
Pick up your phone, Google search. You can find someone out there to talk to, and I encourage you to do that, because talking helps. Don't
Absolutely.
leave it bottled up.
No, don't
You
do
know,
it.
I have a problem where I don't like confrontations. So when something's bothering me, I bottle it up inside. And then when I finally, something happens where I can't take it anymore, and then it all comes out at one time, and I regret the way it comes out.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. A lot of
like,
times it can cost you the relationship or the friendship, right? When it explodes like that. And yeah, it's good that you recognize it though, right? Because when we recognize the blip in the road, we can work on it and we can address the situation,
that's
right? So
right.
you recognize that holding it in is a problem. So now work on talking about it, like we're giving the advice to others. It's just open up, man. And I was talking to you about it earlier. Anyone who knows me knows that I have no problem telling anybody what I think, and my problem is learning how to do it respectfully and doing it to where it is productive and can be a conversation instead of me just belittling somebody and being a dick, to be honest, right? So nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I lived a long time in incarceration and on the streets, and I had to be nasty to people in order to survive. But that was because I was scared, right? I was traumatized. I was doing what I needed to do to make it. Um, Trauma has so many faces, right? Like we talk about the trauma that you've been through, trauma I've been through. They're so different, but the lasting effects are very close to the same, right? That viewing that depression, that self-loathing, that viewing that view of no worth, right? That we have nothing to offer, or that the anxiety when we go into crowds that other people view us the same way we view ourselves when they don't even know us, right?
That's right.
And I have trouble talking about myself. Uh, we've talked about social anxiety. I can't go to the store. I can speak publicly. I work in an intense inpatient and psychiatric detox unit, so it's uh, there's a lot going on, and I'm very comfortable when I'm with somebody. But when I'm by myself and just to go to the grocery store, I won't go for 2 weeks. I'll start just eating out and stuff because I get such a high level of anxiety. But that's one of the things that I'm trying to work on, right?
Mm.
Talking about recognizing the blip in the road and recognizing what we need to address. That's that's my current my current mountain to tackle, I guess I would say.
Yeah. Well, and this is a serious subject, but you'll find sometimes me and Coleman will crack up a little bit. I think it's just a way of kind of dealing with that. How do I want to put that? This, well, the seriousness of it. Sometimes it's easy to deal with it when you use a little bit of humor, but and this is a relaxed area, so yeah, I'm having my chewing tobacco right now.
Enjoy. Enjoy. So I agree. It's people. I am not. If I ever giggle, like I people tell me all the time that I have this little giggle I do. It's not intentional. I don't mean to like laugh, or I don't think necessarily that it's funny. I mask a lot of what I see with humor because I work in a very intense situation. I see a lot of tragedy and people that are at rock bottom all day long. And it can weigh on you very, very heavy, right?
Hmm.
I hear traumatic stories from people and the trauma that they've gone through, right? And I'm there to try and help them through it when they feel that they don't matter at all. You know, most of the people that I'm dealing with are suicidal or homicidal, and it, it's just I have to learn to deal with it and laugh at some of it, right? Because if I'd be in tears all the time if I took it on. I mean, I wear a lot of that emotion and take on a lot of that grief. It's hard not to, right? It's hard not
Hmm.
to relate to people and feel with them. But
Well,
if I ever
it
laugh,
reminds you.
yeah, it is absolutely a reminder, and we relate through it, right? Like that's the biggest part of this is to let everybody know that most people have gone through trauma, and that taboo of us not talking about it is insane because everybody has gone through something. We did a thing in my communications class of like all stood in a circle, stand in if your parents are divorced. Most people stood into that circle, right? Like
Yeah.
it's rarity to have your parents be married now. And a lot of people are ashamed to come from a divorced family. I was as a child, right? My family got divorced and I thought my family was broken and whatever. But the truth is, like, the world is, we have so much more in common, and our trauma, the things that we've gone through, can really bind us together,
Yeah.
right? Coming through that darkness and seeing the light on the other side, if you can help share that with others and share that point of view and spread that appreciation for even the faintest bit of light, right? It'll change your perspective, which will change your world.
Oh yeah.
And that's
Th-
the point of what I think
There,
we're all trying to do here.
there's so many things going on in this world that are separating us, and we don't stop to think about the common grounds that we have. And I don't care if you come from an impoverished home or if you come from a rich family. People go through trauma And it doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what church you go to. It doesn't matter what your gender is. There's a lot
Trauma
of
doesn't
us.
discriminate.
Exactly. And we should all find that common ground where we can come together and talk these things out. And we'll find out that there's little that's really separates us.
It's the truth. It's the truth. People, we can choose to love each other for who we are, or we can hate each other for who we're not. Right.
Mhm.
And for the longest part of my time, from, my early teens, 12, 11 years old, I was very, very hateful. And I would judge people for the smallest things. I would find something I didn't like about them, and then I hated you. Well, I hated myself. So
Yeah.
if I saw any bit of me in you, I didn't like you at all, and that's,
Yeah.
I saw it in everybody. So I just alienated myself. And now, instead of choosing to look at what I don't like in people, I choose to find the common thread. Right. And everybody has something to offer. Everybody has um, something that they can give. And it's really cool to see it like that. And I try and promote that to people, the acceptance. You have to learn to accept people for who they are. Look at your family. Our parents drive us nuts. I love my mom to death, but I mean, there's things that she does that drive me nuts, as any parent does, right?
Of
But
course.
I can either look at the things that she does that I don't like and focus on those, or I can look at the fact that I have one of the most loving, caring moms in the world, that even though she went through tons of trauma and hardship and was a single mom raising an absolute shit stain and a little sister, she did her absolute best, and she has done her best to constantly show me love. And has she made mistakes? Yeah, she's human. We've all made mistakes, but we've talked about them and we communicate about them. And it is, I choose to focus on that. Right. And I used to not to. I didn't talk to my mom for years when I was in the throes of my addiction and in crime sprees. I I didn't want to see her because I didn't want to see that look of disappointment on her face,
Yeah.
and I couldn't handle that. So I ran from it. But now, that's all I want to say is you can focus on the things you don't like, or you can choose to focus on the things that you love. And if you can change that perspective to looking at the things that you enjoy in people, it'll make your day a hell of a lot better. I promise. You
Now,
know,
I can't speak for everyone, and I don't have anything, scientific uh, studies or anything to back up what I'm about to say. I'm just going to say from my perspective that it's easier for me to accept other people than to accept myself. And I know there's a lot of people out there like that. You have to realize that you do have worth, that there's a reason why you're here. And if you can find that, whatever it is, you see there's a lot of actors out there that they aren't the best looking people in the world. Got they've got some kind of features that make them not beautiful, but they're wonderful actors. And I mean, maybe your purpose is to find a cure for a disease, or to make a beautiful piece of art, or to talk to someone and help them. We don't always know what our purposes are. You have to seek those things out and know you are here for a reason, and people do care about you. Don't
absolutely.
don't let the world tear you down. Just like on social media, you see people get trolled and they get told all kinds of ugly stuff. That's why I got rid of my Twitter. I got tired of it.
I've
People,
never even been on Twitter.
well, and it wasn't directed at me. It was directed at other people, and to see how ugly people treat other folks, it's sad. It,
So I did, talking about my communications class, and we did a thing basically on what you're talking about, but with stereotypes.
mm,
And my professor, his name's Rowdy Duncan, is an amazing man. I actually just signed up for classes with him again in the fall, and I'm super excited to see him. But we did a thing in class on stereotypes, and he put up around the room white, black, Hispanic, Latino, or Asian, and then like fat, skinny, or overweight, skinny, and things like that. And then he wanted everyone to put two stereotypes that they had heard for these different ethnicities, races, religions, whatever. Um, so we started, and my point of view was, well, prison has nicknames for everything, so this is easy for me. I can just go put nicknames up there for that you would say in prison, right? Well, as I go up there and I'm writing my names, I get to like the third one, and I realize that somebody's writing two positive things about these things. Like everyone's writing negative, and then there's one person writing two positive. And my first reaction, I laughed at him. What an idiot. And then as we concluded the exercise, we go into talking about it. And he starts asking, is there anyone who doesn't know what anything means? Well, now nobody knows what the prison terms mean. So I have to explain all of them. And it sucked. I was really like, this is not what I wanted to do. Well, we had a foreign exchange student. She's actually a friend of mine. She's an amazing human being. And she is from Prague. And she started talking about how it really made her sad when she started walking around and was reading that everything was negative. You know, she doesn't understand why Americans have to view everything through negative. Why, when we look at a people, we can't see the beauty in them. And my mind exploded. And I was just like, I feel like such a piece of shit for making fun of somebody writing positives. Now I wanted to go rip my shit off the board and put something nice up there. You know, I felt like a douche. And it was a huge eye-opening experience for me. And I truly try, like you were just saying, that's just where it relates to me, you know. And I think that people need to really start looking for the positive in people, man. It's all about acceptance. There's so many beautiful things in culture, you know, whether it's yours or somebody else's. Like, think about food. If we were all the
Always think
same,
about food.
yeah, I love food, right? Like, I like to eat, and I love traveling and experiencing like the street food that like the working class eat, and just seeing, you know, what amazing dishes they come up with the shit cuts and scraps of whatever. But it's amazing food. And to me, one of my idols in life has been Anthony Bourdain, and I respect that man very, very much. I miss him dearly. And but he has been somebody who has helped mold me into the man that I am without even knowing me. Just the way he would talk, the way he would write, and the way that he would travel all around the world and show me we are all the same. You know, everywhere we go, we're all the same. We're all working day and night to try and provide for our family and put a roof over our head and keep food in our bellies, right? But somewhere along the way, there's all these dividing factors, that all these dividing forces that are pushed on us, these labels. You know, you need to be political, you need to be proud of your country. You're a white Irish Catholic, you need to live up to that. You know what I mean? So I'm supposed to fight and drink and be a dick. Like, so, you know, it's like, I don't want to do that. I want to be compassionate and loving and hug people, to be honest. Like, I truly care. So I think that, I don't know. I got lost on something there. Sorry.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
we all need to work towards that. You know, loving each other. Get to know your neighbor. You know,
Please.
we were just talking about that. How, you know, most of us don't know our neighbors, and you're lucky if you even get a wave from somebody nowadays.
Yeah, it's more of like
Used to
a
not be that
stare,
way.
like, who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm.
And I am guilty of it. Like, I was talking to you and Carlana. Like, I have a resting bitch face when I don't pay attention to it. But it comes from years of incarceration, years of living on the streets, and years of hardship. It's left a mark on me, right? But I am conscious of it, and I actively try to, when I look at somebody, not give them that like, what are you looking at face, and try and smile. But a lot of times when I do that, I don't. I think they're like they give me some weird look and just look away. But whatever. That's their fault. You know, that's their problem. I'm trying to be friendly and I don't know, be conscious of it.
Yeah. And there's folks out there that they are suspicious of you when you try to be friendly.
Mm.
You know, I've seen videos of, a guy will see a girl and say, "Hey, it's easier to smile than it is to frown," and they take it as some kind of sexist remark
Mm.
when most of us are genuinely just saying, "Hey, smile. We want to see a smile on your face."
Yeah,
Of course,
be happy.
with the having to wear masks, that makes it a little more difficult, but
I
eh,
can't wait for that to stop.
you and me both, brother.
Oh,
I I miss seeing the expressions on people's face. Sometimes you can read
yeah,
people's eyes, but you don't
not as
know.
easy.
Yeah, you don't know if that person has had a bad day and they're really sad because their whole
Mhm.
face is
Covered up.
basically covered up. And I like to joke around and put a smile on somebody's face. It brings me joy to see somebody else have joy. We all need to
Absolutely.
we all need to think that way.
That's talking about kind of circling back, talking about the trauma and how I mask it with humor. Another one of my idols in life is Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the best way that I can describe how I've lived my life with people that are close to me. I do struggle with severe depression and self-loathing. Um, I tried committing suicide in 2015. We talked about that. So it's this change is new, right? But I would always mask it by trying to make everybody else laugh, right? Like I wanted to be Robin Williams. Like I knew I would constantly give people humor because I knew what it was to be sad inside, and I didn't want anybody else to feel that way, right? So I was constantly trying to give you, even when I like even in prison, when I got to the lower security yards, I would be sometimes really, really depressed, but I would be going out of my way to actively joke with people, and crack jokes on the run and make people laugh and stuff because we're in fucking prison. Everybody's having a bad day. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
nobody's having a good fucking time. So
no kidding.
it's I would do what I could and it brought me a lot of joy, right? In a roundabout way. It gave me a sense of doing something because before when I would go down, my bipolar would drop. I would become very violent, and I would want people to feel 10 times worse than I felt. Right? If I'm having a bad day, I want you to have a super shitty day, and that was just terrible. Like, but again, it's up to you how you're going to react. It truly is a choice, and it's not if you've been doing it one way. I'm not saying you can just choose to do different. No, you can recognize that you don't like the way being a dick makes you feel. You realize that it's alienating you, it's pushing people out of your life and causing you to be alone. You can work on changing it. It's not going to happen overnight. It's taken me since December 20th, 2016 is when I actively made the choice to change. And it is now what, 2021? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm still working at it and will continue to work at it for the rest of my life because there's no such thing as perfection, only
That's right.
progress. Right. So don't give up because you fuck up. I fuck up all the time. Right. And I'm not going to beat myself up for it. I'm going to stand up, dust myself off, learn the lesson from it. Okay. What made me screw up? What led to that detour? Right. Why did I take that right hand turn and get stuck on the roundabout again? Right. So once I realized what I did there, it's not a failure because I stood up and learned the lesson that life was trying to teach me. And now I can avoid that bump in the road next time I see it coming.
Yeah.
Right. So I just encourage people to realize that we all fall down. We all relapse. We all have bouts of depression. We all have that voice in our head that tells us we suck. You have to fight it and you have to stand up and actively talk shit to it. Tell it
Yeah.
that it sucks and that you're badass.
Well, we're going to have these talks on a regular basis because I feel
Absolutely.
like it's necessary for people to hear.
Mhm.
Somebody needs some encouragement out there.
if there's anything anyone wants us to talk about, please drop you
Yes.
a message. Or if you message me, my name is Coleman Ryan on Facebook, on Instagram. On Instagram, it's Robert Coleman Ryan. Please message me on either one of those if you need to talk about anything, and I will get at you at my earliest convenience, which will be that day at some point. So, um, yeah, please feel free, because once if they give us a topic to talk about, that'd be great. I would
Oh,
love to
sure. I would
reach out something.
anything somebody needs some advice, anything.
Yes,
I have our social media up on our descriptions, where you can just click on the link and go straight to it. Also put our email in the description so you can email me as well. Anything that you want to talk about,
reach out,
please do.
reach out.
Any way we
And
can help you, because I
no
don't.
judgment
No,
here.
no, no judgment
None.
whatsoever.
None. I was a shit stain on society for a long time, and I do not judge. You can ask anyone that knows me. I'm like a counselor to my friends. They talk to me about whatever, but it I love it. I love helping people. I love getting to know you below surface level, right? You and I talked about that last time. Cool, you're a drummer. Cool, you've done all these solos. You did all these cool concerts. But what led up to you being a drummer? When did you pick up your first drumstick and why?
Hmm.
Right? So
Exactly.
let's get to know each other. Let's get to figure out who we are, at the core level, not at surface level. Right. So please reach out.
And that's another thing. If you want to be on the show, you want to share your experience or just have some advice, hey, you're welcome. Just message me, and I'll be glad to have you on. We pre-record all these so we can figure out a schedule that's good for all of us. And until you get the help that you need, if I can give you some advice, every day get out a piece of paper, something to write with, write down everything that you're thankful for. And you read those things out loud and you say that you're thankful for them. Find you some positive affirmations, something to help you through the day. We've talked about off air how, we both suffer from anxiety. And instead of being doped up all the time, I try to find something to focus on to get me through the crowds and different uneasy situations like that. Get you a what do they call that? Well, you get you a like a poster board or a cork board. Get you
Dry erase
some
board or something like that.
dry eraser board. Get you some magnets for the refrigerator. Write down all the things that you want out of life, and you put those up there and you look at them and you read them every day, so you know what you're striving for. Whether it's maybe you want a new car, maybe you want to start a business, maybe you just want to be happy. Write those things down and you read those every day. And for heaven's sakes, meditate. You have to tell yourself sometimes, I'm going to have a good day no matter what happens.
Right. It's up to you whether or not it's a bad day. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have bad days anymore. I choose not to. I have hard days where I have to learn tough lessons, right? But it's not a bad day, because it's in the fire that I'm refined, and it's in the moments of hardship that we truly learn and grow, if you choose to do so. Right? If you keep getting hit with the same thing over and over and over again, it's because you're refusing to learn the lesson and you're not moving out of the way. Right? So you're just getting pummeled by the same thing. Um, you've got to step back and learn the
Oh,
lesson.
it's called a vision board. That's what I was trying to think
Vision
of.
board. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these things will help. Believe
I
me.
wanted I wanted to circle back. You said that we both struggle with going into crowds, and it's true. And I wanted to maybe ask for somebody out there, what do you do? How do you manage crowds now? Right? Like how do you manage going into crowds? What's your technique? Because I have one. I'm just curious what you do.
For myself, I just have to tell myself that it's going to be okay. It's as simple as that. It's going to be fine. You're going to make it through. We made a trip to New York a few years ago and we took the subway everywhere. Well, you're in this big metal can and you're in there with a bunch of people, and it's easy to let anxiety take over. but you have to prepare yourself. And that's where the meditation comes in. That's why you take that time to meditate and, play it over in your mind. Everything's going to be okay. There's something else that you can focus on. Even if if you need somebody to go with you and you can focus in on them, do that. If you're by yourself, sometimes you might just have to pick something out on the wall that you can look at and you can study and, you know, read it over and over again, whatever it is. There's different ways of dealing with it. Just don't focus in on what's causing the anxiety,
Mhm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. If you're, I mean, I get that. If you're surrounded by people and it's bothering you, don't just keep looking at all the people, focus on something else.
Exactly.
For me, music. I
Oh, that's a good one.
one earbud in. I used to walk around, like I would walk around with my headphones in all the time. Now I just do one Bluetooth earbud, and just that music is enough to distract me and enough to just have me in my own little world, kind of, but I'm alert enough to what's going on around me to still be uh, alert and safe. But it gives me just enough of a distraction to, I guess, keep that overwhelming voice at bay.
I, I
Right.
like
And
to I like to make a playlist of the songs that always make me feel good, whether it's because I like to sing along with them and I know all the words, or it just has an upbeat to it. You do that. Oh my gosh. That
music
music
speaks to the soul,
music is
right?
good for the soul. It
It
really
is
is.
it is my that's I love music. TV is whatever. I can have music on and dance around my house all day. Um, I love it. It truly does speak. And I listen to everything from bluegrass, old school country, new country, hip hop, gangster rap, EDM, uh, death metal. I listen to everything. Hard, grunge, all of it. I love music, and there is a time and a place for all of it. I love the energy and the feeling that it gives you. And I cannot wait for concerts to open and start going back to normal
That
because
is no
I
lie.
need it bad. Need it. So I am excited for that. And yeah, I think again, like talking about taboo and flipping the script, I just want to go back to that. Like we need to really start realizing that talking about it is okay. It's not, it doesn't make us weak, right? Like you need to change that point of view that, oh, I'm broken. I went through a traumatic experience. No, screw that. Because I've made it through a traumatic experience. I made that shit
Yeah,
and
you
I
did.
survived, and now I'm stronger for it. Right. So every traumatic experience you've survived, you're still breathing. Right. So
Yeah.
you're stronger, and that hurdle is up here. If you can jump that hurdle and realize, damn, I can't go back. I can't make that not happen. Right. As much as I would love to, I can't. So I can learn the lesson that needs to be learned. I can feel the emotions that I'm feeling and then grow from it. Right. It's hard. We got to learn it. We tend to get stuck on that hamster wheel, right? When a traumatic experience happens, the brain just gets stuck and replays and relives, and we just relive it over and over and over again. So I encourage people to start talking about it, flip the script on it, face your trauma and stop looking at it as a weakness and as something that holds you back, because the only thing that's holding you back is you and the way you view yourself because of the trauma that happened, right? No one
Mhm.
else looks at you and is just like, oh, they don't see us the way we see ourselves, right? And friends that I work with now are the ones who helped me with that. I told them, when you guys look at me, what do you see? And they're like, I see a hardworking guy who's funny and makes me laugh when he's at work. And I was just like, well, what about the fact that I'm covered in prison tattoos, that I sold drugs, this that, I was a piece of shit and I've robbed whatever, I've done all these things. Um, they looked at me and their response was, Coleman, we didn't know you when you did that. So how would we see that person if we've never seen you do that? And it was just like, oh yeah, you don't see what I see through my lens, right?
Right.
And that was it seems so like, yeah, no shit, Coleman, but for me it was mind blowing to have somebody else say that to me. So yeah, no judgment, flip the script, know that you've got something to offer. Like you were saying, we've all got a flipping purpose on this world
That's
and
right.
something to give somebody else.
You
Right.
just think of that oyster when it gets that sand in it and the irritation and the discomfort that it has to go through. But then eventually it makes something beautiful and a pearl.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way your life could be. You know, you're going to have those things that are going to be irritating, they're going to bother you. But if you come through it in the end, something beautiful can come out of it.
It's the truth.
So,
It's the truth. I agree with that 100%, man. And the beautiful souls are created by ugly experiences.
yes.
One of my favorite sayings. It's from, I believe, a Japanese gentleman. I don't remember his name, but
Well, you know, when we go through uncomfortable things in our lives and we come out the other end and we survived it, that that just goes to show that you can make it. And it gives you a little bit more confidence every
yeah,
time.
resilience, something to
Exactly.
be proud of. Instead of looking at, man, you got to flip the way you look at it. You got to change that point of view because it is not a weakness. It's like it only, like, who said that? Your thought only carries weight if you believe in it,
Hmm.
right? If you believe that you're unable to do something, then yeah, you're going to be unable to do it. But if you believe in yourself and you try, you may not do it the first time. But like I
Hmm.
said, you just learned something that didn't work. Now try something else. Get up and keep going. Don't accept anything less than success. And I think that is,
Well, how many people out there play video games? You first get a video game and you start playing, then you lose your life or whatever in the
yeah,
game, and you keep trying until you finally beat the game and you've accomplished something. But look
yeah,
how
you
many
feel
times
good.
you had to fall before you actually won.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. It's the
have,
truth.
you have to look at life that way.
And you got to change the way you refer to yourself, right? Like my the same professor, Rowdy, Mr. Duncan, I beginning a class first day, we introduce ourselves, and I start talking about all, like, who I was. I just got out of prison, this, that, and the other. And he's just looking at me like, the hell. After class, he keeps me after, and he's like, why would you do that? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, that's what you did, but what are you doing now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see that. He goes, I see a college student who's trying to better his life and get a degree. And I was just like, yeah, that's true. So now he said, when people ask you about your past, man, uh, I'm not worried about what you did in the past. Why don't you tell me about what you're doing with your life right now?
Mm-hmm.
And that has been a huge thing for me, right? Because people just want a story when they ask you about your past. Oh man, tell me about it. They just want a good story. They don't really give a shit. And really all that's going to come out of me telling you a big story off the bat is you just judging me and probably not wanting to talk. So, I have taken his advice, and I now refer to myself as, I'm a patient care technician at an inpatient detox and mental health facility. I'm going to school for public communications and masters in counseling, and I do what I can every day to try and better the lives of those around me. And that makes me feel a hell of a lot better than what I used to say. Because I'd
Yeah.
start talking and I'd be like, oh, I'm a piece of shit. So I
Well,
changed it, and I think people need to start referring to themselves as amazing and resilient instead of broken and damaged and things like that. So
that I think you should start thinking of that old person that you used to be as dead and gone. You go through the grieving process, say your goodbyes, let it go.
you're
It's
done.
hard to do.
Yeah,
It really is. I
time.
mean, that I was an awful dad, and I would bring that stuff up all the time. And my son's like, Dad, that's who you were. That's not who you are now. You should just stop talking about it.
Yeah,
Stop. You're not that person anymore. And it's hard not to think of that. God, the terrible things that I did, the drinking, the drugs, and ignoring my children. But I don't do that anymore. I should focus on, oh,
to be
I,
proud.
yeah, I
You
don't
made a
drink
huge
anymore.
change. Look at how many domestic abusive spouses and abusive parents never change.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's it's something to highly be commended and take notice of because it's breaking the cycle. right? That's making a huge change that will ripple out generations instead of just allowing the cycle of abuse and hate to continue, which would also ripple out and just, make things worse and contribute to the mess that that is today,
Well, the positive way of thinking of it is I'm sober
Absolutely.
and I'm there for my children when they need me and I spend time with them.
That's awesome.
So, if you think about the negative, then you're going to attract negative. That's why you
Absolutely.
got to think about the positive.
Absolutely.
And how's that saying go? If you think you can or you think you can't,
You're right.
you're right.
Mhm. It's the truth. Because if you're not even gonna, if you say that you can't, you're not even gonna try. So you've already failed. That's failing. Not trying is failing, or giving up. That's when you fail. You don't fail when you fall down. You learn, right? As long as you get back up, it was a learning experience.
You know, I,
So,
I've told this story over and over again in a lot of my podcasts, but you've heard of Formula 409, the cleaner.
mhm.
All right. You know why they call it Formula 409?
Mm-mm.
Because the first 408 times they tried, it failed.
Really,
The 409th was the one that worked.
really,
That's why they
that's
call
awesome.
it that.
I didn't know that.
So yeah,
409. That
who
makes me
knows?
like it more for some reason. You guys didn't give up. Good job.
Yeah, don't give up. You know, you're
Don't.
gonna fall. You
Part
look
of
at a
life.
baby. A baby that's trying to walk.
Yeah.
How many times it falls down until finally it's able to walk
Over and over and over again.
over and over and over again. Don't be afraid to fail.
No,
You know,
don't.
look how many times Edison worked on the light bulb until it worked.
I know. We wouldn't.
Look at the Wright brothers. How many times did they try an airplane until it finally flew?
Are you I ask people because there's a lot of people are afraid, right? Like I talked to you about that earlier. I was too scared of even trying. I just lived a life on the streets because no one expects you to be successful on the streets. So when you fail, it's just expected. Oh shit, yeah, he got arrested again. He's selling drugs and doing whatever, so that's normal. So I never even tried education and being, a part of society because I was so afraid of failing. But it's like when does the pain of same become more than the fear of change, right? When are the pain and the circumstances that you're going through right now going to outweigh the fear of you taking that step into the unknown?
Mm-hmm.
And that's up to you. You got to make that decision, right? No one else can make that decision for anybody else. For me, it took severe um, circumstances for me to realize that it was time to change and to truly believe that I was able to. And I would not be here had I not got a letter and a picture from a friend while I was in prison who was somebody that I compared myself to. As always addicts are like, oh, there's somebody worse than me. Well, she was somebody that I compared to as worse than me, right? And then I thought she was dead. I hadn't heard from her in years. Last time I saw her, she was like maybe 70 pounds and had no teeth, couldn't sit still, was covered in sores. And I just broke down crying, when she left. She doesn't even remember that interaction. She doesn't remember seeing me that time. She was so out of it. But I came in, I was contemplating suicide at this time. I had already tried killing myself in 2015. Thanksgiving in 2015 is when I tried. And I got her letter in the beginning of 2017, but the end of 2017, I had gotten to a new yard and I had been sober for like 8 months. And then some friends from the streets showed up and I knew immediately that heroin was going to show up with them because that's what they do is traffic. And when it showed up, hey, you want to get high? Nah, man, I've been doing good. Man, you ain't gonna get high with the homies. What the fuck? We know you from the streets, dog. What the hell? And that peer pressure. All right, well, yeah, I can do it just once. So I crumbled, and I was so upset, right? Because I talked about failure. I had never really tried to be successful. So now that I really tried, I stepped away from the hate gangs. I stepped away from the life that I had dedicated so much time to try and better myself, and I failed again. Right. So I started kicking myself. Well, I was really contemplating killing myself again because I was like, I'm not doing this to my family. I'm not doing this to myself. I'm tired, And I came back from playing basketball. There was a letter on my bed with a picture from Jessica, and I didn't even recognize her. She had put on healthy weight, had all of her teeth redone, looked amazing, and was standing there with her mom. And it was, she sent me just a letter telling me that I was worth it, and that she believed I had something to offer, and that I needed to believe in myself. And I wouldn't, I wouldn't be here had I not got that letter, because I didn't believe that, that I was worth anything, you know? And your parents can tell you, people that you feel like are supposed to tell you that can tell you that, you know? Um, and it never sank in. But to see the picture spoke equally, if not more, than the letter, right? Because I always compared myself to her. I'm better. She's way worse off than I am, And now I'm looking at her and I look like shit. I'm all strung out in prison with a needle in my neck and look, just living like a scumbag again. And here she is in Florida running sober recovery programs for people, changing people's lives, And I was just, I was honored that she took the time to send that,
It's
and
amazing.
it's amazing, right? And it's just little moments like that. You don't know what you have to offer to somebody, right? You don't know what you have to give. So when someone says, "Oh, I don't have a purpose," you don't know that, A little letter saved my life, and it's little things like that. So I encourage everyone to talk and just open up, what to somebody safe. I'm not saying just go on your Facebook and start posting, what you're going through, because that's not healthy. Find a healthy outlet, find somebody that you can relate to, or that can relate to you, and deal with the trauma, because it's not a bad thing. It's a badge of honor in a sense, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was about 12, I think, when I started drinking.
Mhm.
And by 13, I was already starting to do drugs. And I did that for years and years and years. At age 36, had a heart attack. And I quit drinking, quit doing the drugs. But then something happened. I faltered, started drinking again, got bad, but then realized that wasn't me. I needed to get away from it. And like you, I mean, it took me looking at my children and realizing, hey, I got to be a dad because I was taking care of them by myself. I had to be there for them. So it was time to give that stuff up again, or I was going to lose them. So, yeah, I know we both have our own things that have
Mhm.
brought us back to reality, but we have that common ground is that we
Absolutely.
got back to sobriety. I am a sober person. I am a good person. You know what?
Absolutely.
And you can call me selfish, but I want to be a person that helps someone else, and that would make me feel good to know that even if it was just one person, if I helped one person,
Hmm.
then I've accomplished something. So call me selfish, but that's what I want.
I like to say selfishly selfless. Like, I'm selfish and I make sure that I take care of myself. I eat healthy, I work out. I do put myself first, but that way I make sure I'm 100 so I can give 100 to everybody else,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, yeah, I agree with you,
Yeah.
right? Like that, just to know that you help one person, man, is huge. And I constantly tell her, like, you don't even get it, like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your letter. And
Yeah.
she's just like, yeah, you're doing great. But she knows. I mean, she knows. So,
But
but
even the Bible says you got to take care of your own household before you can help anybody else.
mhm,
and it starts with you.
It's true. You have to, right? So, well, you can't say you can't remove the splinter from your brother's eye before you remove the plank from your own, right? And
Exactly.
you have to face who you are, right? And a lot of times, I'll be honest, man, a lot of times when I hated somebody, it's because I saw something in them that I either hated in myself, right? Or was jealous that I couldn't have or maintain, right? Saw super successful people. I hated them. Why? Because they're what, doing good in life and have a nice career and a house and job and whatever. Well, good for you. You didn't fuck up like I did, but it made me mad. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, when I meet people like that, my first question is, what do you do, man? How'd you get to where you are in life? Please lay down your map of success so I can understand how you made it here. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being resentful and creating some story in my head as to why he's a dick and he doesn't deserve all these things that he has when he could be an amazing guy or a woman, and it's talking to people instead of just creating some scenario in my head has been amazing. So that's why I encourage people to talk.
Mm. Well, I appreciate you sharing your life,
Thank you for
being
having me.
open.
I really enjoy these.
And we're going to do this often because we're going to help somebody.
Yeah, I'm down to
We're going
set
to
up
do
a
it.
weekly thing, man. If you want to start setting
We
up
can do
weekly.
that. We can
Yeah.
definitely do that. And if you're listening or if you're watching this, remember you are worth it. Remember all those things that we mentioned about the vision board and the positive affirmations. Remembering the things that you should be thankful for, and by all means, take some time to look in the mirror,
Mhm.
look at yourself, decide right then and there what kind of person do you want to be. Not what's some other people might expect from you, but what do you want to be. And we're going to leave it at that, and we'll meet up again. And as I said before, please leave a comment. Let us know if there's something you didn't like. Tell me. If there's something you liked
Please.
about it, tell me. If there's something you want to talk about, tell me. You can get a hold of either one of us. You can, maybe you'll relate to Coleman better than you relate to me, but reach out to
Vice
if it's
versa.
if it's not us, somebody,
Mm-hmm. That's
please.
absolutely. I tell people I don't know anything about kids and I'm not a woman, right? So if there's things that are like that, Kyle, you have kids, right? You can relate to that. If there's something that has to do with woman needs, I'm just going to throw them out there because it's a serious podcast. Human trafficking, rape, any type of things like that. I have women in my life that have overcome all of that and are more than willing to talk to people. So if you need somebody to talk to, I have valuable people at my disposal and would be happy, more than happy to set you up with whoever you need. So please, abuse within relationships, anything, don't hesitate to reach out because your next breath isn't guaranteed. So you do what you can with this one to live your best life.
Yeah, if it's not one of us, we can definitely get you in touch with someone.
Mm-hmm.
There are organizations out there that can help you. There's an actor that I know. His name is John Asuna, and he heads up a program that talks about the human trafficking and sex trafficking and all that kind of stuff. And
A
I can
huge
reach out
problem.
to him.
Huge problem.
Yeah, and he can get us, somebody
Absolutely.
that can help out.
Yeah, perfect.
And if you're being bullied, um, there's stopbullying.org. There's all kinds of people and organizations out there that can help you with whatever it is that you're dealing with. Just don't give up.
Mm-hmm. Truth.
So
All
please,
right, man.
please subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment, all those things. If it's not you that needs help, maybe you know somebody that does. Maybe there's somebody in your life you don't realize needs help, and maybe this video can help them out. So, thank you again, Coleman.
Thank you, Kyle. It's been a pleasure, man.
Take care,
You have
my
a great
brother,
day. Okay. Be safe.
and have a blessed one.
You too, man. Stay safe out there.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe because it's only through your support that we're able to continue doing the things that we do. And until the next one, have a great, great day.